send me an email. Okay, is Brian on? Brian Lorente?
Brian Lorente is here.
Hi, Brian Lorente.
Hello, everybody.
I'm gonna do just a couple housekeeping things. I'm gonna ask everybody to mute themselves while Brian is talking, and to help keep the background noise down. And if you have a question, raise your hand. And does everybody, make sure I remember, you go to reactions, right? Recognize reactions. Yep. And then if you click reactions, it's on the bottom of your screen, and just put your hand up. And then you'll probably have to remind me to take the hand down.
I don't
Okay.
see reaction.
So we'll try to do that. And again, if you want any additional information sent to you, please send your name, title, and contact information via the chat feature. Because Nancy, I'm feeling like Megan figured out a way that we get that chat information.
I think it was too. I just wasn't positive.
Yep. But again, take my email address just to be sure. So anyway, I am also looking for topics that you guys would like to talk about for the upcoming meetings. I've kind of gone through, program, fundraising. We've had Mike on a couple times. Is there something specific? If you have some ideas, if you would email those to me, that would be great too. I want to keep the interest and keep covering as many different topics as you folks are interested in. So I'd appreciate that. What else? I guess we're ready to start. I'm going to introduce Brian Lorente, and he is our Veteran and Family Resource Manager, works out of the program department. And Brian is going to talk about his position, which I think he has about just over a year under his belt, and all the great stuff he's been doing at the National Home. So take it away, Brian.
Good evening, America. I'm coming to you from a snowy basement here in Michigan because spring's over. Thanks for having me back again. Hello, everybody out there. My name is Brian Lorente. As Sue was saying, I've been at the National Home for 23 years in May. I took on this role as the Veteran and Family Resource Manager just over 1 year. The 7th was my year of taking this new position. So I've done a lot of things at the National Home. Seen a lot of faces come through there. So it's been an interesting run. Currently, the main focus of my job is as it says, to develop relationships with resources that we believe are going to be assets to the success of our residents. Not necessarily to the straight success of the National Home, but from my experience, partnerships that are going to be helpful to the productivity of all of our residents as they're going through their program. So I was tasked out with meeting and greeting a lot of people. I've been to a lot of places. I traveled to several major cities last year. I did a lot of meetings, several Zoom meetings, some great presentations, met a lot of great people. And I did everything I could to really raise awareness of not only the National Home, but what we're doing now at the National Home is something that's never been done in the 23 years that I've been there, as we're extremely veteran focused right now. We have an extremely clear vision of where we go, where we want to go, and what we want to do. The team is united like it's never been before for our success, not only for the residents, but for the entire agency. So that's exciting to be part of as well. And my daily routine is jump on, answer as many emails as I can before 9 o'clock, go to a few meetings, talk about the resources we have, try to answer a lot of emails, make several calls a day. And when I'm not doing that, I'd probably be on the road somewhere. I got some road trips coming up here in March, I believe. It's been great. I've met a lot of great people. I've really noticed that 2023, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, asking me for information about the home, asking if they could be of service to the home. So I think because the team's been so active in this new direction, we really generated a lot of great energy out there and a lot of good vibes. So I've enjoyed this role. It's been very It's been a lot. It's been a massive undertaking. In October, I believe, Sue, we cut the ribbon on the Veteran and Family Resource Center, which
Yep.
if you've ever been to the National Home at the Health and Education Building has 2 floors. The lower floor of the Health and Education Building was for extra case managers, it was kind of honestly a little underused. We used it for several different things. Well, we have the last several months been really focused on revamping it to be a useful office space. There's now 3 of us that are office down there. All of the resources that I collect, you know, you go to a convention, you get handfuls of pamphlets and cool armbands and pens and all that stuff. All the useful information is down there, and that's a place that's open to anybody who wants to come research. We've just recently put a computer in there for people to do telehealth visits or homework or anything like that. We have a large rec room down there that we're going to really renovate to be a really great relaxed space for veterans and families to come and just hang out and just kind of have a little space to just do nothing. As of tomorrow, there will be a pot of coffee brewed every morning at 8 o'clock for anyone who wants to come in and just have a cup of coffee and just kind of start the day in a free space outside of the house. We all know being locked up is no fun. So we've really focused on creating as many resources outside and inside for everybody, but really for the veteran families that we're really focusing on moving in. It's good. It's good. I can honestly tell you, in 23 years, this is probably the best time that I've had being part of the National Home, and we're only going up. Mike Wilson is a ruthless 5:30 in the morning emailer, and we know when he's traveling because he's always like, "Hey, I'm awake, go to work." And you know, he's always sending us stuff to do, which is great. He's always thinking. His enthusiasm is very contagious, and we have worked ourselves very hard this year, but it's because of his leadership and his very clear direction of what he wants to do has been great. So that's kind of my speech. I love lots of questions. You can feel free to ask me whatever. Sorry for my casual wear. I just got off the basketball court coaching one of my teams. I was supposed to be sitting in the car right now, but it's snowing, so we canceled everything. So any questions from anyone, or Sue, anything else I should cover?
Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Since y'all put in that Veteran and Family Resource Center there, have you been able to offer the veterans there in the houses services that they don't have to go outside for at this time? Or are they still having to go out for more, or how has that affected that?
So it's a good question. What we've really done, I think probably November, maybe before that, we got to the point where I had met enough people and gathered enough resources that now we're going back to the team and saying, okay, who needs what and when? So we brought in, one of the 3 of us down there is a employment specialist. His name's Daniel. And he is the guy, if you wanted to rebuild your resume, if you wanted to do job hunting, if you wanted some employment skills or interview skills and you wanted to meet with somebody, we contract him. So you don't have to go out to a different facility or anything like that. You can come down there and sit down there with him at no cost and have that interaction. It's tax season. So the next service we're going to offer is you can do your taxes downstairs. We're going to bring in some people to hopefully do very discounted, if not free services for taxes for everybody. Who else we brought in there? We have some not employment specialists, VA loans and things like that. How to use your money once you transitioned out. We brought those to the home. We have a program called Guitars for Vets that we just we had all the stuff, and then our instructors, we had a little problem with that, but we're 4 lessons in right now for a 10-lesson course, and they do that at the resource center, so that's great. They don't have to go out for that, so we're using that. Probably on an average weekly basis at this point, we're probably seeing 15, 20, 25 people come through there. Yeah, it's been very active. Yesterday, the employment specialist was meeting somebody, the peer support specialist was meeting somebody. There was a big meeting of veterans. They were having kind of a luncheon down in the big room. I was Zooming, so there are days when, I mean, it's a very active wing now. There's lots going on all the time. So in really pretty much less than a year, we we took off. Oh, and by the
Now,
way,
will you take can veterans come in there that aren't necessarily in a home on the campus?
we are really
If
excited
they're in
about
the
that.
area?
Yeah, absolutely. We want veterans to know, and not just local. We want national to know that if you're in the Michigan area and you need some resources, call or just come in. You know, we unlock the door. We unlock the door at 7:30 in the morning, and we invite that. So every third Saturday of the month. So this coming Saturday, we do an event called Cup of Joe, and it's an event where we serve coffee and donuts. That's it, nothing more. And there is no agenda. So we ask everybody from all over, come to the National Home, have some coffee, have a donut, just hang out, no meeting agenda. And that we've done 4 or 5. And the last one we did was well over 30 people from all over. And it was supposed to last 2 hours, and it lasted about 4.5. So our peer sports just likes to sit and hang out, and everybody just come. We had guys coming in before they went to work. They came in and got coffee and donuts, and things like that, which is great. Love to do it. So it was Mike's, the tagline is come and accomplish nothing.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's things like that. When the weather gets much nicer, we'll go out to the scout cabin and we'll start a fire in the morning, and we'll do it out there just to kind of have, use the National Homes facilities. Yeah, we are really encouraging the outside participation as much as the inside. About 2 or 3 months after my taking this position, I was asked to go become a VSO. So I'm an accredited veteran service officer at this point. I'm not even a year into that role. So yay, oh man. Learning a lot. I've learned a lot of great stuff. Being a civilian, there was a lot of terms and things that I needed to learn. So I've gone through an incredible amount of data, but I've made some great contacts that I have I don't want to call him a peer. He's not a peer. He's kind of my mentor. His name's Mason. I met him in Baltimore, and he's out of the Detroit office. And I call him every day. I bug him every day, and he loves it. He's been doing it a while, and he's about my age, so he's a good contact. So we've been working with a couple other guys, but so we've got a VSO there on campus that if I can't do your claim or get you, I can connect you. I can get up to date on all the information. And now with the PACT Act out, there's so much information to constantly go through every day. So we're always trying to keep up on that. But the veteran service community, now that I'm in it, it's crazy that so many veteran service officers didn't know we were there. So, you always want to know if the work you're doing is tangible and if the work you're doing is helping. Well, I know that if I go to a veteran service officer meeting and I explain what the National Home is, our helpline calls increase incredibly.
Well, I should hope you would not get any of those questions from any Missouri VSO, because last year I made it a point at one of our department meetings that I went in and talked to the VSOs when they were doing their training, but I also provided each one of them a packet full of information of the National Home. And they all know who I am, of course. So, I tell them all the time, any referrals, any questions, anything you have or need on the National Home that you maybe aren't comfortable with or you can't answer, have them contact me and I'll help, whoever the veteran is, whoever might call. So I've really worked hard in this state to train them. Yes.
I'd like to speak to that for a minute, Marilyn. That's something when we get rosters from, I'm going to talk VFW right now. We have listed VSOs, and I've shared that information with Brian. He's done a great job in Michigan. Now he's pushing out, and you come to mind because of your contacts. And is that we're looking to, where do we get the information about the National Home for residents, that could use the program? Do you think the VSO on the VFW side, that's a good place to focus for Brian?
Okay, what do you mean for you mean for your residents in your
the program? Yep, in
your houses.
Yep.
For them to contact their state VSO. I'm trying to understand your question.
what is it when the roster that we get, I'm talking VSO, it's the VFW VSO.
Right?
So there's other VSOs outside of the VFW.
Yes, the Missouri vet, yes, okay,
Okay,
okay.
so we're looking at ways, avenues for Brian to reach out and, to teach people. It'd be probably a lot more Zoom, than,
Well,
Um,
and it's interesting because I took a trip when was it? November, after I went to the National Home. Actually, it was a cruise. And on the last day of the cruise, I came into Boston, and the day before that, we're in Maine. And we walked through Bar Harbor, Maine. And I asked, everywhere I go, I ask, do you have a VFW here? I don't care who it is, I ask. And they said there was no VFW in that town, but they said their American Legion was very active.
Right.
So I think in certain areas and in certain states and certain parts of the country, you're going to have one organization of an American Legion or
Right.
maybe a DAV or that's more active than the others. And
Okay,
that's fine, as long as there's somewhere that veterans can go to get their services.
right,
And so dependent upon where they are from, like in the state of Missouri, we have the Missouri Veterans Commission, and in our VA facilities and our VA hospitals, the veteran organizations have VSO offices right in the hospitals and the outpatient clinics as well, some of the clinics. But like we have the VFW, the American Legion, and the DAV, all three in a row in our VA facility in Columbia, Missouri.
Mhm.
But and I do know, and we have the Missouri Veterans Commission, and they have veteran services and veteran service officers where they take referrals as well and help with claims as well. But the VFW just happens to be in this state the most active in taking and processing those claims. So it just depends. Like I know in the state of Tennessee, I went down there last year, and they only had 3 VFW veteran service officers for the whole state of Tennessee. I was really floored to find that out. I think it depends on how well each department funds the VSO programs and how they want to build and strengthen those VSO programs.
Okay.
So it's going to be,
And
I
it's
think,
different in every
dependent.
state.
It is going to be different in every state. Yes. Yeah,
Any other questions for Brian?
I do. I have one. Brian, I'm getting ready in a couple of months. I'm doing a Veterans Resource Fair here at my post. This is the 3rd one I've done. Now, I've got a question for you. I'm building some good relationships with our Missouri National Guard Family Support Unit. Do you have any kind of advice or any tips or anything specifically that you might be looking for in building that? Like I said, I work pretty well with these folks, and they're getting to where they know me and look for me to do this every year. Is there any advice you could give? Because I know you've done something nationally with them.
I think the target market for us right now, client wise, is finding anyone who's in kind of a transition situation.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest voids for us is we have not been in the conversation as a service member is transitioning out to say, instead of going back to your mom or dad's house or going to struggle, here's the national home, only 4 years, up to 4 years, but here's all these services that you could get to kind of get reacclimated and maybe get some education and figure out how to use your GI Bill and things like that. So, they can still be active, that's fine, but letting people know that we're a 4-year available service to help you kind of get things sorted out. It's all for free. We're just a service. We're not going to charge you anything. And try to make it understand that it's not a handout, it's a hand up. And it's a light community. Lots of veterans do it. You're not going to be by yourself.
So that kind of service, I'm sorry, are you saying,
okay,
would they necessarily become residents on the home campus or just receive services from the National Home?
it's an option. It's an option to get off campus services, but for me, if it was me, I think the most effective way of servicing somebody is to bring them to the National Home, take the burden of all the financial burden off of them for a little while, get them retooled, and then, you know, have them hit their goals, and then back off into the world you go.
Is that enough for them to qualify to be there?
So qualifications are service, and you have to have custody of a child. So there's that. Yep, they have to have a minor in custody. That's a big one. We
Sure.
actually get those calls a lot. I'm a veteran. I don't have any kids, but I want to come live there. We can't. We can't serve that population.
Okay.
But
Okay.
so resource person goes out and finds other organizations that, okay, we don't help individuals who aren't married, or who don't have kids, but I know this group does. So let me get you connected with that group. So again, no matter what, if you call the National Home, hopefully we've got a resource for you, whether it's our on-campus services or we've done our homework and we know that we can connect you with somebody in Missouri that's right there that'll help you out.
Sure. And since you mentioned that in the transition situation and services, you just gave me a great idea for one more area that I need to make sure it gets the information for National Home is our department. I guess now it's been, I think, what, three or 4 years ago, they actually set up a food pantry. And we get some of the National Guard families, veteran families come in there, and it's been built. It's built up pretty nicely, and they can get everything from diapers and soap and the hamburger meat and beans and corn, all kinds of canned vegetables and whatever they need. So I think I'll have to make some information available for that food pantry, because if they're coming in there, they have a need.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
I would also add to your list of things that, and again, in my whole year of experience doing this, what I've seen is that a lot of veterans, they have filed claims, but they did it themselves, or they didn't file anything at all. They have sat down with a good VSO who will say, that's a big gap.
Well, they actually have our VSOs. We have 2 of them in the Jeff City area, and they kind of tag team on every Thursday and Friday between being in the VA and at the department office. So they have a VSO. A VSO is in the department office every week. 2 days a week, there's a VSO in the office of department. So if they should come into the food pantry and they need help, they need to file claims, there's a VSO there to do that.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Brian, this is Linda from South Dakota. How are you?
Hello,
Hi,
Linda.
Linda.
Good. Hey, sorry, I got in late.
That's okay.
I sent you just a couple meeting chats through here. I just have a couple questions for you. You don't have to really answer them now.
Okay.
I think that South Dakota is doing a few things. So I sent you my email address.
Okay.
Hopefully you can open it through this. I'm not sure.
Where did you put it, Linda?
I just put it in the meeting chat to Brian.
Okay, because I'm not seeing it, but I'm gonna put Brian's email in the chat so everybody has it.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, I just did it in a quick meeting.
I don't
Okay.
see it, but,
I just sent it right to Brian.
oh, okay.
So Brian, can you open it? Did you get
Can
a?
you see it, Brian?
I'm on a phone right now, so
Oh.
let's see if I can play around. Hold please. Hang on. South Dakota. Your email address?
Yes.
I do see that.
Okay.
I'm gonna screenshot that right now. So what I do when I get an email address is I have a generic email that I make up, and I shoot you an email that says, hey, this is Brian, da-da-da, and respond back to me and I'll get back to you ASAP.
Yeah, I just got a couple questions about
Sure.
South Dakota, and I know Sioux Falls is kind of doing starting, I believe, a veterans home, and I just got some questions about that.
Okay.
Nice.
And
Just
so
for you folks-
everybody talking about it, I just thought you and I could communicate if that would work.
That's totally fine. Yep.
Okay,
I
thank
just-
you. Hi,
I wanted-
everybody. I was late last week and I didn't have a camera, so I really couldn't communicate. So This is my,
Glad to have you.
Yeah, this
Good to
is
see you.
this
Good to
is
see
my
you. Thanks.
second year of being on the Buddy Poppy National Home, and we have the new incoming president, next year, this year coming in, and president's gonna have me do it again. So I'll be going on my third year with it.
Ooh, you'll be a pro. That's awesome.
I'll be a pro, and
We love it when the positions don't change. I mean, because this information, it just takes a long time to get the information
Yeah.
out. So
I'll be going into my 8th year.
yes.
I have to
Eight
say,
years.
Someone's bragging.
I got to toot my own horn. My first year as Buddy Poppy and National Home for Children, I actually won a national award at convention. I didn't
Nice.
go to convention, but I won
Nice.
an award. Still
Yeah.
haven't gotten it, but I won an award. So
That's great.
Awesome.
I wanted to just run through the states of where our residents are from. So even at like Missouri, you guys have our weather today. So you're not
Yes.
afraid of any Michigan weather. So
No.
we have Michigan represented on campus. We have Florida, Oregon, Tennessee, Indiana, New York, Utah, Kansas, and Texas. So I think that's really important to not let that geographical barrier come in the way of telling folks that need help about the National Home. It's such a great program.
hey, we're at 16 degrees right now here.
Woo! I think we're at 24, freezing rain. So it's lovely.
Yeah, we're at 28. We dropped down to 28 just before I pulled into the parking lot out here.
Yeah, we're gonna get
When I turned on
up to the 30s this weekend.
when I
Yeah.
turned on the computer to tune in tonight, it was 73.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
Any
60 in
No.
Massachusetts.
Mute her.
It's 75 in New Orleans. It's 60 in Massachusetts.
I think we had like 63 here yesterday. It was nice.
Where
yeah,
are
and
you
then it
from?
came through.
Missouri. I'm in Missouri.
That's what I thought.
It's
When we
17
first-
in North Dakota.
There we go.
Hey,
there
North
we go.
Dakota,
There we
my
go.
neighbor.
Hi,
Hi,
Troy.
neighbor.
When we first jumped on, I mentioned to Kathy that last month, a gentleman came on. He listened to Mike, our executive director, went through the strategic plan, and we talked about our broadband issues that we're having on campus. And he asked for more information, and I don't know if anybody on here tonight, we did not capture who asked the question, so I couldn't forward any other information. So if you asked any question about broadband, please send me an email. My email address is in the chat.
Oh, and I appreciate you doing that, because when I had legislative meetings here last weekend, I promoted that to the auxiliaries that were there, that National Home needs some funds, but they really need funds for that.
Technology.
Money.
Yeah, it's a big challenge.
Yep.
It's an amazing place out in the middle of nowhere.
Especially when I seeing everybody on their phones doing this. I
Mhm.
figured that was a good time to promote it.
Right. All right,
Yeah.
Brian, any other questions for Brian? Any questions in general?
I have a statement, Christine, from the Department of Michigan. I guess this kind of piggyback off of like Sue, your question to Marilyn about like establishing a POC for distributing information in that state. I was just curious, and Brian's statement of how to spread the word or integrate information to these military members that are integrating back into civilian life. Have we reached out like to, we're Air Force, so I'm familiar with that one per se, but these Airmen and Family Readiness Centers on base, that's where you get like your retirement packets and all that
Right.
stuff. And they have information all in their lobbies and everything. Have you guys
Yeah.
like considered reaching out to like Chief Master Sergeant, like Joanne Bass, to like have a meeting with her? And that's something that you guys can discuss with her, and maybe something that's part of their reintegration, like training that they have for retirees. Is this
So-
information, should you have that issue?
That's a great question. And that was one of the first things I noticed when I took this job, was I knew we weren't inside that transition conversation. So because of the context I made, and when I went to national VSO training, our leadership became very available to us for questions and things like that. So I just recently got in the conversation of getting approved. We're going to send some palm cards. And when they sit down with the servicemen as in any branch as they're transitioning, we're now going to be, okay, well, there's this place called the National Home. It's in Michigan. And we're going to finally be in that conversation. And it's not going to be a push. It's just going to be, here's a resource that you should, you might be interested in looking into. You're probably eligible with your service and with your family situation. So we finally have our foot in the door of something that should have been a long time ago, but it wasn't. It's fine. But we are now. So yes, we are going to be in that transition conversation for all branches as the conversation's happening.
Is that with all states too, Brian?
That's the hope and dream. I mean, again,
Yeah.
we're literally 1 foot in, and at one point we want to be across the country,
Yeah.
available to everybody. Just this is what it is. This is so no one's never going to know that the National Home doesn't exist. We know what it is. We've heard about it. I love that phrase. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've heard what you guys are doing. I've heard of that place recently. So our promotions are rising and rising on that. So yeah, we're doing a lot to get inside that specific transition conversation.
I have one more quick question, Brian, before you go.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had so many Guard members that have been deployed overseas. Do you think at any point in time, like Guard members or their families will ever be accepted at National Home?
The National Guard?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have Guard members.
Do you? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because-
Veteran's a veteran. Veteran's a veteran. So
But see-
the Guard member, as long as they have a good DD-214, NGB-22, they call up. The helpline is the key to all of this. So always keep the helpline number available, keep that at the ready. And if someone is in need of services, or if someone may need our services, have them call the helpline first. So
Quite
that's-
honestly, I've worked more to get the information to the Guard units primarily. And I did that because on the military installations themselves, those are active duty troops, and they're going to move them with the family when they do get PCS, when they change a duty station or whatever. So the National Guard units what I'm trying to say is they generally have less resources that reach out to give them this kind of assistance.
Because I
On the
know,
military
like,
installations, they have in the Army, they have the Army Community Service offices, and, they get other services within that set community, and they get that information usually in volumes.
because
I know
like,
that from when I was on active duty.
because I know like right now what's going on, and I know one specific, got injured being a Guard, but doesn't qualify for VFW or
Oh, my.
VFW services.
Yeah, but that's a good reason as well, because those National Guard units, a lot of times, they're going to be away from a military installation. Those units, they could be in a very, very small town, which that's fine. They're still a qualifying Guard unit, but they may not get fed. The information gets trickled down, takes longer maybe to get to them. So that's why I've really worked hard in the last few years to primarily work with these National Guard family support units, so they know what resources are, that this is a great resource that is available for them with these young families.
Okay,
So
maybe it'd be my best interest. We do have a Guard unit up in Sioux Falls. And
Yeah,
going up
yeah.
there and handing out the cards to
Right.
the kids that if I can get on. I know I have
Oh,
to make
yeah.
arrangements and have
Oh,
the
yeah.
cards available up there to
Or,
them.
you know what, something that Brian just mentioned, what do you call it? The cup of Joe or whatever, coffee. Maybe we could start doing something like that. Do it within your post or in your auxiliary and invite them to come.
Yeah. Well, the
You know?
Guards we don't have it in our post.
Okay,
Years ago, when my husband was in Guards, we had an active
yeah,
service here, but in Canton anymore, we don't.
I see.
Falls.
yeah. No, I was thinking, if there's a facility there that you can do that at, invite them in for that, something simple.
Yeah.
You know.
But I could work with the Sioux Falls people up there, which is not that far away from the active guards. So thank
Okay.
you.
Okay,
You know,
and I
you can
see,
also,
I see a message there from Kathy. You need an email from the department chairman. You
I
say that we attended. How do we, what's your email, Kathy? Is it here?
Well, yeah, I'll send it down in chat. I
Okay,
put that up because I like to keep a record of those that attend this.
sure,
I
sure.
consider this Zoom meeting something of going above and beyond and taking a
Oh,
bit of
nice.
interest, and I just like to take note of the chairman that participate in it. Because
Absolutely,
I don't know about the
absolutely.
rest of you, but this is all, and I'll say this to you, Sue, and to Sandy Kriebel especially. My chairman have been my teachers this year. I've just been absolutely amazed at all of the things that are going on in the different states. And so I think by getting on to something like this where you can share with each other and the board of trustees and the people that are running the home, just being able to tell them some of the things you're doing is so important.
Yeah.
That the auxiliaries got your back, Sue.
I knew it was going to be a great year, Kathy, when I heard you were the national ambassador. So
Well, thank you, but I sincerely mean that they have been teaching me this year. It's just been amazing.
Now,
We
Sue, I want you,
Apologize, I forgot to send you all my stuff, so it's all sent to you now.
Okay, thank you.
and Sue, I want you to remember, I took a pie in the face for National Home just a few weeks ago at our department convention
I
meeting.
like that.
Winter meeting, because, and this was they got me onto something now, because I've done fundraisers over the years at all my department meetings for us to raise money for the trip, so we can make our trip up to Michigan. And this beat out all the others by miles. I mean, but it took me taking a pie in the face to get that money, but I don't care. That's okay. I think in the summer at June at our department convention, we're doing a dunk tank. So
I think those are some great ideas. And I bet Sandy's writing them down right now for some ideas. for fundraising.
already done them.
yeah. So yeah, it was all worth it,
That's
even
great.
I had the stickiest eyes and eyelashes until I could get showered, but yeah, it's all good. All good.
That's great. Any other questions? Any
I don't-
ideas for the next meeting? What, please think about that. If you want to get it more in depth on, maybe even Brian, your new presentation, more of the program. I know we just had Angie on. I'm just trying to, but please, we're open for ideas on what you want to hear about. And I know we probably won't, like in, let's see, what, June, I think we lay off in the summer, so we'll have a couple more. But anything you can think of that you'd like to chat about, I love it. I think
I'm
it's
just
great.
sorry I missed the last one.
I
just do. I think it would be cool, if it's okay, Kathy, is maybe if it's okay with everybody else, of sharing all of our chairman's email addresses. And maybe we can cook up and come up with ideas of doing better things with with National Home, and maybe people have better ideas of how to promote it.
There is a
Sue?
there is a Facebook page that quite a few members share, that I've seen a lot of them on. I know I post things on it frequently that is just for you guys, just for the chairman this year. And and
A Facebook page just for the chairman? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, and so if you want to reach out, or you've got something special you like to share, it's a good place, because you can show pictures and give directions and all kinds of stuff, which makes it a little bit easier than just sending out a bunch of emails. It makes it a little personalized when you see pictures of what people are doing. I did want to mention one thing, and this might not be the right platform. I wanted to tell my chairman, the last bulletin from National will be coming out shortly after March 17th, so look for it. We'll be winding down our year, but we're not going to do that this year. Sue and I were just talking about it. She and I are going to try to come up with a way to continue to carry through our program until August, because I don't want you guys to quit just because the end of the year. This
I
is
don't
too
quit.
important. So we need to find some way that as chairman, we can pass on, those of you that do it year after year, congratulations. I think that's wonderful. And, but there's some of us that they ask someone else to do it the next year. And so we want to find a way that we can pass the torch on and not let it fall during the summer months. That those, I mean, we can still do work during the summer months just because we're, you know, the end of our year is coming. Don't stop. Get it
No,
ready
that's
to pass it on.
Kathy,
So-
that Facebook page that you have, is that something that's passed on, or is that just yours?
I set that one up. Well,
Got it on
I
me.
shouldn't say that. Maria Peck and I set that up. At the beginning of the year, she set it up and she put everybody's name on it. And she and I share the administration of it, I guess. She does it more so than I do, but
Okay.
she sort of makes sure anybody that is not on there and wants on there gets on there.
Yeah.
And
But I guess because the department levels change too, I understand it's just gonna be,
mhm.
yeah, so.
So actually, these Zoom meetings are probably much better than my little Facebook page because you're sitting here looking at all these faces and
Yeah.
you don't always get a chance to put a face to somebody's name. So it's
Yeah.
really nice.
And just so everybody knows, we do, we're recording them. We'll have to clean up the recording and then we will send it out to our list again. So even people that aren't on here, like for example, we've got 24 people. And I think that's very close to one of the highest ones. I think Mike was about that last month. But we send out the recording to the same group. So people, if people couldn't make it, because I know, you know, I mean, life's busy. So we'll get that out in the next week or so. Yes, Ann?
I have a question, and I sent you an email, Sue, concerning the fundraising that we're having in Connecticut for the National Home, for the Connecticut House. And that pertains to the family that's living there. I believe it's husband and wife and 2 kids, I think, I'm not sure.
But what do you mean it pertains to the family?
Well, we're raising, so far, we've raised $1,200. So by June, we'll have over, I'm hoping 1,500. And we would like to give that to the family to maybe take a short trip somewhere.
Well, what we want to be real careful giving specific gifts to specific families. I understand how that connects the state with their house and everything, but we really discourage giving gifts directly to families because it can cause problems on campus just from inequities that happen.
Okay.
Now we would welcome that in the Connecticut House Fund, and then that can go towards keeping up the house, or you can give it to an activity fund. I mean, there's all kinds of things that the staff has been doing for the residents. We just had a Valentine spaghetti dinner party dance last weekend. Yeah, or last
So
week.
maybe give it to an activity instead.
That would be great. Yeah, we appreciate that because it's just not something that we like to do because it's caused problems in the past.
This fundraising actually stems from some info that was passed on to me because this is my first year. And it came from, I believe, a Department of Indiana chairman back in 1819, that time frame. And she had suggestions for fundraisers. And this was pennies, basically. So at a meeting, an auxiliary would collect the change that everybody has in their pocket, bring it to district, and hopefully they would attend more district meetings.
Nice.
And then I would, as treasurer, I would get the funds. So we made a contest, and Connecticut's pretty small. We've only got 6 districts. So I tried to combine some districts so that the membership totals would be pretty close. So far I've given out $75 in winnings for districts. And I'm over $1,200. I'm amazed.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Ann. Sandy, you got a question?
Yeah, I wanted to, well, one, she was talking about the pennies. Our district did a quarter mania where each auxiliary collected quarters in a bank. And then they brought it to the district and we counted it out and presented it to the National Home for the educational program. But I wanted to mention, have you mentioned about getting the life membership list to correct changes of addresses and did you want to mention that?
Well, I think what we kind of are focusing on is making sure that the people in your departments, if they haven't heard from the National Home, it means that we do not have an address from them, an email address. And just a reminder, all of voting is now electronic or via text. So that's really important to make sure that we have that correct information. Yes, Patty.
Is there any way I can get a copy of today's transfer? My computer kept kicking me out every time I'd log in.
Yeah.
So I've only been in on the last maybe 10, 15 minutes. I seriously need a copy or just a few notes of what it is, because we've got a COA this weekend. And I wanted to get some of this into them this weekend. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, we won't be sending out the recording because tomorrow's Friday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And we're off on Monday.
Oh, I know.
What
So
kind
am
of
I
information are you looking for?
Just whatever he was talking about the National Guard and the participation that they're doing there at the National Home.
Brian,
So
do
I'm
you
in-
have something you could send Patty?
Just a quick
Not off the top of my
rundown.
head. Patty, tomorrow I'm in the office at 8:30. I'm happy to do a call with you, either Zoom or just a good old telephone call, and you can ask me all the questions
That'd
you
be
want.
great.
I'll recap all the stuff we talked about tonight. That's fine.
That'd be great. I can my email is PJRWilson 49.
Here,
What's the easiest? Yeah, depends.
yeah, Patty, let me give you Brian's phone number. That'll be the
Okay.
easiest way.
Go ahead and do that. Yep.
517-663-7875.
There you go.
Good. I can call him in the morning, then I can get some of the rundown.
Yeah.
Can you repeat Brian's number again?
Sure, 517-663-7875.
Call that number and ask for Sue.
Ask for Sue, huh?
Ask for Sue.
Yes, for Sue.
No, ask for me.
All
Okay,
right.
I will do that.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Great to see those that always jump on. I appreciate it. And again, if you have any ideas on things you'd like to learn about, anything we want to dig in a little bit deeper, let us know.
All right.
All right.
So I'll be in.
Bye,
touch
everybody.
with you
Take
between
care.
All
now
right,
and
Kathy.
March.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you. Good night,
Have
everyone.
a good, safe.
Have
Bye,
a good
everybody.
weekend, guys.
Take care.
Sue,
Yeah. Yeah.
this gives me overjoyed because Donna, when she started this for you to carry it on, I really greatly appreciate your time.
Oh, I think it's, I just hope whoever the next one is, I hope we can keep going, you know?
I do too. It's
That'll-
very helpful.
Yep, I think so too. Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
take care. We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Bye.